Hello, and thanks for tuning in. Today I wanted to show you something I found at the local food thrift store. We call them Bend and Dent groceries. And I thought you might find this interesting. I paid about $2 for it. It is still in date. And as you can see, it's a bin from the Curious Creamery that allows you to make customizable ice cream with your own flavorings and your own liquid, be it milk, alcohol, or yogurt, whatever. And as you can see, here are the nutrition facts, as well as the ingredients. You can also see that it's made in Long Beach, California, so presumably all of the ingredients are American, but I couldn't tell you for sure. But it is an American product, so I guess that's kind of cool. Clearly, as this is an ice cream mix, there is powdered skim milk in it. So if you have dietary restrictions, this may not be for you. Turning the package to one side, you can see the general instructions listed here, with detailed instructions and recipe ideas inside. Mix and create in this tub. And again, the best buy date is April of next year, so that's a pretty good time to keep hermetically sealed powdered milk, I think. So let's go ahead and open this thing up and see what's inside of it. I've already removed the plastic bandings to make it easier to open, so that we can get right down to the real meat of this mystery. Here you can see that the package contains the tub, 2 packets, and the instructions. It says you will also need some kind of liquid, and it also recommends adding things in if you feel like it after step 3. Here is the full overview of the instructions, sped up to 300%, so that we can get through them and you have a general idea of what I'm going to be doing next. The instructions are written in a logical way that's easy to follow, but it really doesn't need all this extra art and stuff. It'd be much simpler if it were just a list that said do this and that. But the pictures are probably useful for some people. Instruction number 1 is very simple. You add 200 milliliters of liquid to the container. The 200 milliliter mark is on the side of the tub, and milliliters is volume, so it is consistent regardless of what kind of liquid you use. You fill it to that line. Although, oddly enough, it says 200 milliliters or 200 grams, but considering water is the only one that is 1 gram per milliliter, so it is currently fall, and I decided, since I had a bottle of Oktoberfest laying around here, I would just go ahead and use it, and see how this turns out. So let's give it a pour in there. I know there's a proper and an improper way to pour a beer, but I really didn't want extra carbonation in the final product, considering I was going to be mixing in a bunch of air in the first place with the stirring method, so I didn't really care. Now, I know there's another channel that likes to use a plastisou to open everything, but I've got me a state-of-the-art budget knife from Walmart, I think, that holds a decent edge that I can sharpen relatively quickly, and so I use it to cut everything. Clearly there's not going to be any cooking to this, so I decided to taste the powder, and it has basically no flavor. It does not taste sweet, doesn't really taste like anything, so in case you were wondering, it is not going to affect the flavor, I don't think, of anything that you may add to it, whether it's sweet, salty, bitter, sour, or savory. I do not have a whisk attachment, so I just decided to use my regular beaters here, and I made sure to leave an opening at the top rather than submersing them fully, as this will adequately mix in the air exactly the same as whisking for this purpose. So, as you can see, the blending went very well. The mixture has introduced quite a lot of air, and now it recommends adding the mix-ins if you feel like it. It also recommends putting it in the freezer for about an hour, and then mixing them in if the mix-ins are denser. So let's see how the first attempt goes here. You can't see it in the video, but I can feel the mixers at the bottom. All the M&Ms have settled there. So again, we're going to stick it in the fridge for about an hour, and then mix it up again. I took a little sample of the stuff right before I put it in the freezer the first time, and it basically feels kind of like a very light cupcake batter or something. It's really kind of weird. But again, it tastes exactly like the beer I put into it, just kind of very mild. So, as you can see, after about an hour, it's firmed up enough that the toppings are not going to sink anymore. So I stir it up quite a bit. You can see the alcohol has kind of dissolved some of the coloring on the M&Ms. So it makes this kind of neat rainbow pattern all the way through it. That's kind of neat. So after several hours, I decide to pull it out and see what it's like on the inside, and we open it up, and what do we find? I noticed right away that some of the M&Ms had shrunk down in just a little bit further, but that's all right. They didn't go too far, and they froze fast enough, I should imagine, that they were okay, and I decided I would dig into this a little bit. And the first thing I notice is it's very soft, and then I dig down just a little bit further, and I notice that it's actually still fairly liquid. So 4 hours is not enough time to freeze this. We're going to stick it back in the freezer, and we're going to see how it looks tomorrow when I wake up. So now for the big reveal. How is it? I can tell immediately when I break into it that it is much more frozen, so it just takes probably a bit longer than the 6 hours it recommends. But it's very light and very airy, obviously because I mixed in a bunch of air. So beer and other low-fat liquids like it may not be the best liquid base to use by itself. It almost tastes more like a gelato than it does an ice cream. For the $2 I paid, it's actually not a bad deal, and if you want specialty ice cream you can't find anywhere, this may be an interesting way to make it, although you can probably make your own at home for cheaper by mixing together some of the ingredients on the side or using a traditional means of making ice cream. But with that said, it's not bad. I would recommend trying it if you don't mind wasting $20 on a couple liters of ice cream. But with that said, $20 will buy you a few pails or a few gallons of ice cream at the store. I'm going to give it about a 5 out of 10. Because it's weird, it's not bad, it works, but it's too expensive to justify buying this kit. The other packs they sell that are more like perhaps a couple dollars a pack, or even $1 a pack, that might be the way to go, and then mix it in your own bowl. And that's going to be it for this video. If you enjoyed that, click the thumbs up. If you didn't, click the thumbs down. Leave me a comment below. What's your favorite kind of ice cream? There may have been a few more of these in stock down there, so maybe I'll pick them up and try different things if you leave me good suggestions. Go ahead and share this video with all your ice cream friends. And as always, this has been Reverend JR signing off.